Hello, welcome everyone to the Spotlight here on Fightful.com. I'm Jeremy Lambert, joined by Stephen Jensen. Jensen, how you doing this week, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. Having myself a nice Thursday, even though the weather's a little cruddy. Got some rain today, but outside of that, just kind of hanging out. Looking forward to talking to you. And then later tonight, we have the Twitch stream. Myself and Joel Pearl playing Mario Kart. YouTube.com/FightfulGaming. Twitch.tv/Fightful Gaming, I should say. I'm getting all confused now with Fightful and Fightful Overbook and Twitch and all this stuff.
So much.
But yeah, a lot going on here at Fightful. But I'm having a good day, man. How about you?
Well, you said you got rain. We got snow. We were expecting like a foot of snow. We were worried we were going to lose power. Kids were like, "Oh, you lose power so you don't have to work." I was like, that would be such a blessing. It's financials day with WWE though. Oh man, I gotta do financials after this. Just can't wait. They made $1 billion last year, Jensen. You know, got to fire everybody, but they made $1 billion.
It's wild.
Yeah,
wild.
Yeah, Russell Spider said you'll go on live during the earnings call. I think we will be streaming their earnings call. Usually we do it, so I don't know why we wouldn't do it this time. Regardless, we will have a bunch of news and stuff. Any good quotes from Vince if he tells, maybe we should hand AEW more talent. We'll have that up on Fightful.com. Guys, you can leave your super chat. You can leave a humper chat at humperchat.com. Like our guy JJ here, he leaves a super chat. Says, hello to my favorite big star, King of the Indies watch here. Hope you're doing well. MJF Punk, absolute rule. Tremendous pro wrestling. Love you all. We will talk about MJF and Punk a little bit later on. You were ready to make that your spotlight before it was even like when it was announced. You're like, this is what we're talking about. I don't know how it's going to end. I don't know what's going to happen. Doesn't matter. This is what we're talking about.
Yep, I'm very, very invested in anything that has to do with MJF especially, and obviously CM Punk being like as big of a star as he is and everything, and it being in Chicago. I felt that either way the match went, it would be worth talking about. So yeah, got a lot of thoughts on last night's match for sure when we get to that AEW portion of the show.
All right, let's start with it. We don't need an order or a format or anything. We're gonna rip up the format. Mark Madden always, this is not on my format sheet. We'll do that. What's that guy doing nowadays? Let's start with AEW. Let's start with MJF and CM Punk. You're excited about this one, so I'll turn it over to you. What did you think of this match and in particular this finish?
So I thought the match was really good. I think it was really smart in a lot of ways how they did pretty much everything. So as far as the match itself, CM Punk continues to impress me in the ring. Like, for his age and his time off and everything, like he's really having great matches. Like he hasn't had one match back against anybody that I've been like, oh, that didn't really live up to it. Like all these matches he's having have been very, very good. The storytelling, especially seeing him at a Pepsi plunge off the top rope. I mean, that was like,
oh, so good.
Man, total mark out moment. Like I actually yelled that from my couch. Like, I was like, oh, Pepsi plunge, no way. Like I was marking out like crazy for it. MJF beating Punk the first time, the one that didn't count, where he used his wrist tape to choke him out and then put him in a rear naked choke, I thought was incredible. And I would have been fine if that was the finish. Obviously, what we got after that was, the rest of the match made it even better. And then I think they still got the result correct because I was very, very firm in believing that MJF should beat CM Punk, especially in Chicago. They have a really, really rare opportunity with MJF with how young he is and how good he is. He's so damn good in the ring, and people seem to kind of like underrate that because of how good of a character he is and how he cheats to win and all this stuff. But he's great in the ring. I can't say enough good things about his match with Darby last year. I talk about it all the time, but like and it isn't just that match. I mean, he's had a lot of just really, really damn good matches. So I loved him beating Punk the first time with the choke, especially because if you're like me and you follow the UFC, you know that the rear naked choke is one of Punk's actual weaknesses in MMA. Like Mickey Gall beat him with the rear naked choke. So part of me was thinking like MJF could even use that in a story where it's like, I choked you out worse than Mickey Gall did or something like that. I mean, like there's a lot of ways they can go with it because MJF's also the only guy who's brought up CM Punk's UFC career so far in any of these feuds. Now, that all being said, the real finish I liked even better because Wardlow continues to help MJF, but they're still planting the seeds for that split. And MJF wins with the diamond ring, which keeps the diamond ring protected, keeps MJF protected, keeps CM Punk protected. So, like, I think it was the right result. I think the finish was smart. And now MJF can lay claim to beating CM Punk twice in the second city in his own hometown. So, like, I loved everything about this. What about you?
I agree. First off, CM Punk, tremendous selling. Like the arm and the leg selling, just great stuff from him all around. I know he loves the little details and everything like that. He did such a good job just making MJF like making his offense look good and making it seem like he was really worn down and hurt from everything MJF was doing and making everything try to mean something in the match. So I agree. I love the match. I was the double finish there. At first, when they first did it, I don't typically like that in general. They did it in the Jericho MJF match, and I was like, oh, is this going to be their thing with like MJF matches? They're going to just like have him win, but then have him lose. The fact that he did go on to win, I love that. I forgive the first finish a lot more because he still went on to win the match. Because I don't need the story of like, oh, I actually beat you, but then I lost type of thing. I love the story of I beat you twice. Dude,
Yeah.
Like you could say that I cheated both times. No. I beat you twice. I love that. So I agree with you that if they go with that, I'm all for it. All for it. The Wardlow, the camera work on that was so good. Just tremendous job. They had some production issues last night with missing some shots, but that one they did a great job on. And yeah, they're still planting the seeds for Wardlow to eventually turn. But right now, MJF still got him under the finger. And Wardlow was still helping him out. When he does eventually turn, it's going to be a massive pop. But I like that they're still kind of slow playing it, and they're doing enough to keep me invested with that. But I loved everything about this match, man, and I'm glad that they go ahead, they lose or they get CM Punk his loss out of the way. I think it came to the right person. MJF came in Chicago where you knew he was going to get a bunch of heat. Look, Punk's protected; he's bulletproof, right? And MJF is bulletproof in the sense that he could just lie his way and talk his way out of anything. But you want to continue to establish this guy as a really good wrestler and someone who is a legit contender. And it seems like, I don't know this for certain, but they got a month before Revolution. Hangman's wrapping up his feud with Archer next week. They're not extending that to Revolution. I can't imagine. They got to do something with Hangman within the next 2-3 weeks here to get him a Revolution opponent. And MJF might be the play there.
Yeah, potentially. I think it's going to be Adam Cole and Hangman still, even though, and I think part of that is the kind of the loophole they have with Adam Cole not technically losing to Orange Cassidy, because that also helps Orange Cassidy also. Whether people like it or not, Orange Cassidy is a main event level guy in AEW. He has been pretty much since the day he got there. And I think AEW needs to continue to establish some of their own people as on the same level as the people coming over from the WWE. Like, I saw a lot of people who were like, oh, I don't know, Orange Cassidy he doesn't seem like he's on, the same level as a lot of these guys. But he needs to be, because we saw this happen, a little different, but we saw it happen historically in Impact Wrestling for so long, where like ex-WWE guys would come over and then they would put the homegrown Impact guys to the side. It would just happen over and over again. AEW needs to have at least some of their guys like Orange Cassidy that, like, even if the overall perception is he isn't the same level star as like a CM Punk or a Bryan Danielson or an Adam Cole, like, he is an AEW quote unquote homegrown guy as far as most people are concerned. So like, I have no problem with Orange Cassidy being in the position he's in, just for the record. But it is a little strange seeing Adam Cole lose, even though it didn't count, if he is going to be the next challenger for Hangman. So I get all the sides of that. But that said, I do think they'll go with Adam Cole and Hangman at the pay-per-view. But I do think, and I've said this since before Hangman even won the world title, I was saying I think Hangman will be the one to beat Omega. That was pretty obvious to everybody. That was eventually going to happen. And I don't know when, but I think MJF's the one to beat Hangman for the world title. So I don't know I just don't think it happens as soon as the next pay-per-view. So that's why I'm kind of thinking Adam Cole and Hangman, and then maybe within the next 3 to 6 months, maybe that's when they pull the trigger with MJF. But regardless, him going over Punk, to me, is the stamp of approval from AEW that we've all known for so long, that AEW is going all the way with MJF. He is going to be their world champion, and he is going to be the top heel in the company for the next, as long as he's there, assuming he doesn't leave to go anywhere else, which I guess is a possibility technically. But whether he's in AEW or WWE, MJF should be the top heel in wrestling for the next 10 years if he stays healthy. So yeah, that's kind of where I sit on it. I'd say I'm with you. I don't think that Archer and Hangman goes past their match on Dynamite. And then I think it's Adam Cole and Hangman at the pay-per-view. And then sometime down the line, MJF will be the one to beat Hangman for the world title.
I'd go with MJF. I'd go ahead and go with him at Revolution because the Cole
you put
thing.
You put him over like right now.
Yeah. Just go with him at Revolution and put him over in that match too. Because the Cole thing, like I know it doesn't technically count as a loss to Orange Cassidy, but seeing him lose that match, there's still that visual that it's there, and that's rough to me, honestly. And MJF can easily just talk himself into this program. Cole, a little less so, at least to me right now, because he's got so many other side stories going on. Like, they got like 3 weeks to build this show, maybe 4, but there ain't that much time between the next week's show where Hangman's going to wrap up his feud with Archer, and then the following, and then, the next couple of weeks, and then Revolution. Like, they don't have a lot of time to put together this world title program. MJF at least feels very hot, right? He feels like the hottest guy in the company right now, coming off this win against CM Punk. Adam Cole does not feel like that. So I would go, and look, a win over Evil Uno ain't going to change that on Friday. Sorry. Like that's not a spoiler. He might lose to Evil Uno. Who knows? Love Evil Uno. But I would go with MJF for Revolution. I think they need something hot to go into Revolution. And right now, I love Adam Cole. I'm a big Adam Cole fan. I don't think Adam Cole is the play to go into Revolution.
Yeah, I agree with you about everything you're saying, especially about like the visual of him losing and all that stuff. But we also have to keep in mind that, I mean, Britt Baker, lost to Thunder Rosa and then won the world title not long after that. And I think that that's going to be used as a vehicle to where I'm predicting that Thunder Rosa will be the one to eventually beat Britt Baker for the women's world title. So like, even though Thunder Rosa technically lost that match, it didn't take anything away because Britt was still the right person to win the title when she did. So they have like this kind of this weird loophole that they can use with these lights out matches because it doesn't affect the rankings and stuff. But I am with you on everything you're saying. And also when it comes to Adam Cole and Hangman, part of my reasoning for that is I'm pretty firm on the idea that MJF will beat Hangman for the title, but I don't think that Adam Cole would beat Hangman for the title. And I think like if you want to continue to establish Hangman a little bit more before he loses to MJF, it'd be good to get like a pay-per-view win over Adam Cole because the match would be good and they do have history. The good thing about a short build between the two of them is if they do it right, there's a lot of history there, pre Adam Cole leaving for the WWE and like with them being a part of the Elite and stuff that they could fit a lot in a very short amount of time if they did it right. But that all being said, like here's the real great thing about this, Jeremy, is these are all great options. Like I'm not going to be upset with any of the ways that any of this goes because I know the stories are going to be good and I know the matches are going to be great. There's going to be a payoff. So like I'm okay with any of it. So I guess official predictions is this upcoming AEW pay-per-view. I'm still sticking with Adam Cole versus Hangman, but you think that they're going to go MJF and Hangman, and MJF will win the world title?
Yeah, that's where I think they're going with it, and watch them do something. I hope they have stuff planned out, but watch them just do. Dan Lambert will come back out, and Ethan Page will get a title shot against Hangman. Which, hey, those Page versus Page at Revolution, that match would be awesome. But I don't need Dan Lambert doing anything anywhere on any television for me right now. JJ says MJF Page at Revolution, MJF Wardlow, Double or Nothing. Possibly. I could definitely see that because there's a lot between Double or Nothing. You could pull off the turn before then. But I don't know how long of a reign MJF is going to have. And I don't know if they're ready to pull the trigger on Wardlow this quickly as far as making him the world champion. Because I feel like when that turn happens, Wardlow's got to win that match. And if MJF is the champion, you're basically putting the title on Wardlow right there. So it is possible that maybe Wardlow costs MJF the title. That might truncate MJF's reign. I don't know how you feel about that. There are a lot of pieces in play. There are a lot that they can do. Hopefully they have something mapped out because it hasn't felt at times that everything has been mapped out with where they're going with the world title. So hopefully they do have something mapped out with what they're doing with the world titles and then with what they're doing with this MJF Wardlow feud. Yeah.
I mean, that's really the pickle that they're in with Wardlow, to be honest, what you just said, because I think it's most likely that Wardlow cost MJF the world title, because I don't as much potential as Wardlow has, I just don't see him right now being the AEW world champion, or even within like this calendar year. I just don't see that happening for him with the roster that they have. So like you're totally right about that. That's a layer of this that we have to take into consideration, because in a perfect world for me, MJF would be the world champion for like a year plus. Like he'd have like a long title reign. But for the overall stories of what they're trying to do with all these moving pieces, I think it's even more likely that MJF beats Hangman for the title. Wardlow costs MJF relatively early, so that way when they do Wardlow and MJF, Wardlow can still beat MJF, and they can still get a payoff for that without putting the world title on Wardlow. It's just a matter of who does Wardlow help. I mean, to be honest, I mean, it might make sense to put the world title on CM Punk. And like if MJF beats Hangman for the title and they run back MJF and CM Punk again, and Wardlow does like the right thing this time and like doesn't help MJF, and CM Punk beats him and that one, it becomes the world champion. I could see that potentially too. So
it could either be, oh, he does the right thing, or he screws up. He accidentally hits MJF, and then MJF, despite all the good things Wardlow has done over the years, this is just unforgivable. You cost me the world title. Like, you're a fuck up. And then, slaps him around. Wardlow snaps, thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever he might do. So there are ways to do it. It's just a matter of, do you want to do it with a world title in play? I think you can do it with the world title in play, and I think it'd still be very good. We will see if that's the direction they end up going. Two other guys that we have to talk about. This is my spotlight for AEW. Jon Moxley, Bryan Danielson. It seemed like they, Danielson was kind of scouting, giving the side eye since Moxley returned. And then last night, Danielson cuts a promo and says, we just run this place, man. Like, we can just form our own stable. We just take out all these guys. We don't have to boost these guys up. We can help them, but we can also kick the shit out of them. This was a twist for me, because I thought we were setting up a Danielson-Moxley feud, and I still think it might go that way, but now we are certainly potentially setting up a Danielson-Moxley stable, and I'm way more excited for that than this match, and I really want to see them have a match. But a Danielson-Moxley stable with Yuta, Moriarty, Garcia, even if it's not those three guys, but it should be those three guys, if it's not those three guys, that is tremendous right there.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I was super happy listening to him cut that promo last night with Moxley in the ring. Like, I think it's more likely that we do get Moxley and Danielson against each other. Because Moxley, as much as I love Moxley, he doesn't quite fit the same mold as these other guys we're talking about. Like he does and he doesn't. You know what I mean? But like, for instance, when I think of guys like Wheeler Yuta and Lee Moriarty and Daniel Garcia, I don't really think about Jon Moxley. I think about Bryan Danielson, and I think about Jonathan Gresham, and I think that there's a lot of possibility there. If there is a Bryan Danielson stable of like him, Moriarty, Garcia, Yuta, and then they bring in Gresham, Hot Sauce Tracy Williams, all Rhett Titus, all these foundation guys, like that's an incredible story that can go on for months with all that talent on both sides of that, kind of like fighting over who has the better pure wrestling. So there's just so much they can do. I mean, that's my dream stable, to be honest, is like a Bryan Danielson led stable of like him and Garcia and Moriarty and these kind of guys. Like that's, I am so all in on something like that. And if Mox is going to be a part of it, I'm fine with that too. I just think it's more likely that it does lead to Danielson versus Mox, but Danielson still having his own group.
And that's kind of my thought as well, is like, you're right. Moxley doesn't fit that mold of the guys that Danielson mentioned. And that is sort of, even if Moxley like agrees to it, that is always the kind of underlying factor here of, hey, I'm not really part of your group. Like, it seemed cool, but you guys are kind of cutting me out. And then Danielson can do the turn. Moxley can do the turn. However, it's like, yeah, I never really wanted you in this group. I just wanted to use you to get everything together here because you have pull or whatever it might be. And then we eventually get the Danielson-Moxley match. But I love the idea of Danielson-Moxley teaming up, because when CM Punk first came in, we had the idea of doing like a Punk and Danielson team where they sort of did what they're doing now, of just like, we're just better than all of you guys. We're just going to come in here and we're just going to run through all of you guys. And you're like, okay, AEW, cool. But like, you know, we've been to, one of us, right, main evented WrestleMania. Like, we've done all this stuff. We've been to the big time. Like, this is nice, but we are just clearly head and shoulders above every single one of you guys. So that's similar to what Danielson is kind of pitching here, but he still wants to bring the young talent with him. I like kind of like manipulator Bryan Danielson. He's so good as a dick. Like, he is just, he seems like the nicest dude in the world, but like just tremendous at just like needling and being a little shithead. And that's what I've loved seeing during this heel run. And I was worried that after he did the Hangman stuff, we might just see like, all right, here's Bryan Danielson, the fucking GOAT, but he's still going to be a little shithead. And I love him being a manipulator, whether it comes to Moxley, whether it potentially comes to getting guys in this group, him going around to like 2.0 and Garcia and like going behind their back and like trying to steal them, best friends trying to steal Yuta and all this stuff, like him doing that stuff. That'd be good television, man. Bryan Danielson's really fucking good. That's the fucking GOAT for a reason.
And honestly, and I'm not just saying this because I'm an AEW fan. I think a lot of this stuff has been in the works and been in the minds of the decision makers like Tony Khan and stuff this whole time. Like, because as much as I understand the history of Wheeler Yuta and Chuck Taylor and those guys, like, he never really fit into the best friends. Daniel Garcia and 2.0 don't really fit. Like, it just kind of seemed like ways to get some of these guys on TV regularly to like attach them to other people just so they get more exposure to the crowd. But I think the long-term play is exactly what you're saying. It's Danielson luring these guys away from these other groups and being like, Garcia, what the hell do you have in common with 2.0? Like, come to me. Like, you're the next me. Like, let me show you how to be the next American Dragon. Like, I mean, there's just someone in the chat said Dragon's Dojo. I've seen people use that name. I think that's actually like something like that. It's cool. So yeah, no, I'm very excited for it. It just presents a whole lot of possibilities. If you can pull up one of those super chats a second ago about Hirsch and Deeb.
Yeah. So both of these, I love me some Silva says add Serena Deeb and Layla Hirsch to that group, and then Ricardo Edelhausen says add Moriarty, Garcia, Hirsch, Gresham, call the stable technical difficulties.
Yes, so I'm not against any of that. I do like the idea a bit better of Gresham having his own stable, like, because he's already got the foundation. But if he's gonna kind of branch from that and he becomes a regular on AEW, him being on a team with Danielson, that's incredible. But I think the bigger money right now would be Danielson versus Gresham. But I honestly, like, I think Serena Deeb should join that team with the B, and I'd be fine for Layla Hirsch as well. I'm a very big fan of both of them. But I think Layla Hirsch should go to Team Taz. I think she fits there perfectly. Yeah. So,
Mr. D saying we need weekly Danielson Mox Dojo. Oh, could you imagine just like Danielson teaching people how to kick everyone in the head and then yelling at them when they don't do it right? And he's just trying to teach them, like, all right, here's how you fucking do it. He just runs and starts. He just kicks everyone in the head. Walter used to do they used to do those Walter segments where he just chop the shit out of all like the students and like yell at them like a drill sergeant kind of stuff. It'd be great. Moxley would be great in those segments too. It's just, how does Moxley like kind of play? Is he also drill sergeant kind of guy? Or is he just like laid back? Like, what are we doing here? Like, this is not how you want to teach these kind of guys. Like, here's how you actually want to try to teach them and get them involved. So you can play with so many different dynamics because Moxley and Danielson, like, they have the similarities, but they are also so different that it's easy to play off of depending on how you want to go with it. And I think Danielson's very established in the direction he wants to go with it. Moxley, you can go either way, and whichever way they go, it seems like it's going to be great television. So I love this pairing. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I mean, we have seen Moxley in settings like Bloodsport and stuff where like he's definitely, he trains at like Extreme Couture in Vegas and stuff. Like, yeah. I mean, there is definitely elements to him, like we're saying, that do fit. But it would be kind of funny, or not funny, but interesting too, if like, let's say they're doing these like Dragon Dojo segments that we're kind of talking about, and Danielson is like teaching Garcia like a certain hold, and like Garcia just can't get it right, and then Moxley like comes up behind him, like hits him in the back with a light tube, and he's like, all right, let's try this again. You know what I mean? Like like their punishment is Moxley like hitting him with like deathmatch stuff, like to get them to do the technical stuff right.
There's so many ways you could do this, but now I really just want to see these dojo segments with Danielson and Moxley. That's all I want. I know you're listening, Tony Khan. Give me this. Give me what I want, Tony Khan. WWE spotlight. Shane McMahon's out. Stephen Jensen. He's just gone. He came into the Rumble. Got a good pop. Everyone loves that song. Do you like the Here Comes the Money song?
It's nostalgic. I mean, I like hearing it occasionally. Like I'll pop big for it if he hasn't been around for a while, kind of thing. But hearing it on like a weekly or basis or anything like that, not so much. How do you feel about it?
Oh, I love it. Again, it's so easily stuck in your head. Dollar, 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 ching, ching, bling, bling, dollar, dollar. I don't know the actual lyrics, but it's always the one they say is the brand new money. Money, 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 money. It's so good.
It's funny because Vince's song is like a low-key banger also. You just heard it so much, but like that's the No Chance in Hell came on like my iTunes when I was driving around in my truck the other day, and I was like a red light and it was like blasting, and I was like, this song is actually pretty awesome when like it isn't just like all about Vince. Like, it's kind of a cool song.
Yeah. So he appeared in the Royal Rumble. He threw his shitty punches. He eliminated Kevin. Shane, that's punches. He's hitting. That's what he hits. I'm not actually hitting the camera. That's how he does. He just misses everything. He threw his shitty punches. Yes. He eliminated Kevin Owens. He couldn't get over the top for Brock. Brock had to close on him twice to get him over the top rope. And then the next day, he was just gone from the company. Apparently, he was supposed to be in Elimination Chamber. Reports say he was supposed to be at WrestleMania. I believe it. I believe all of these reports. But now he's gone. I think this is tremendous just banter. I don't think it actually means anything in the long run. It's probably good for the company that this guy is not on television. I don't think he had much influence over anything backstage because he wasn't there half the time. And when he was there, his segments sucked and it was the worst stuff on TV. And I don't think Vince actually look, it's his son. I assume he loves him. I think Vince he might prefer Triple H to Shane McMahon. Think about that for a second. He likes Triple H as a son better than Shane McMahon. Yeah,
geez. There's so much. I mean, this whole thing is wild, right? Because remember that old South Park with like it was like the Margaritaville episode, I think, where like the guy is trying to get the investments in the bank and he's like, all right, let's take your money over here, put it to the right, put it to the left, and it's gone. And it's kind of like, oh, Shane McMahon's back and he's back in the Rumble and he's back for Elimination Chamber and he's back from and he's gone. It's like, man, what happened? Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, if Shane's not safe, Triple H isn't safe. I think the only person that's safe for that company is Nick Khan, to be honest. I mean, it's like, I don't know, man. And I believe the reports that the stuff that I've read about like him being too OP at the Royal Rumble and stuff. And but it's like,
he's the best in the world. He won the tournament. He's the absolute best in the world. He should be OP. These other dorks, Bad Bunny.
Right.
What's he ever won?
Yeah, he's out there hitting Canadian destroyers and WWE matches. Like their own wrestlers aren't allowed to do that move, and he's. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I guess on one hand, it doesn't. I mean, I don't want to sound unsensitive or anything like or insensitive, but like Shane not being on the show isn't gonna like that does nothing for me or against it for me. I just really. I love Shane McMahon back in the day, back in like the early 2000s. I just, it just is what it is. Like, I don't really have a real want to see him on the show anymore, if I'm being honest. But it is very strange that like he's Vince's son and he came back and the reasonings are just weird, right? Like you said, I mean, I'm not saying I don't believe the reasons, but like you just said, they had the guy win a literal trophy to claim that he was the best wrestler in the world. So what would they care if he looked too good against other wrestlers in the Royal Rumble match? Like it's just weird. The whole thing's just weird to me.
He shouldn't look good he shouldn't have been in the Rumble match. Like, I don't need 50-year-old Shane going out there and doing anything. He's throwing, say what you will about Matt Riddle. The guy is a legitimate UFC fighter, former UFC fighter. I don't need Shane McMahon throwing his shitty punches against Matt Riddle and Matt Riddle not being able to just kick his head off or take him down and stretch the shit out of him. I don't need any of that stuff. I don't need unless Shane McMahon is falling off of buildings and stuff. I don't need him on my television at all. All right. That Braun Strowman stuff last year, some of the worst television I've ever seen. The absolute worst television. It didn't matter in the end because Shane just jumped off the top of the cage. Braun threw him, but Shane just jumped off the top of the cage, and people were like, "Hey, that rolled," and they just forgot about all the stupid segments they did. So that's just bring in Shane to do his dives, do something stupid off of the top of a building, and that's it. I'm good with Shane at that point. Otherwise, I don't need to see him.
Yeah, let's all not forget Raw Underground. I mean, geez, like that was his whole thing. That was his whole big I'm going to change wrestling with this idea. And whether you loved or hated Raw Underground, it's just very weird and very WWE that one day it was just gone and just no one ever mentioned it again. It's just like it never happened. And all these guys got repackaged as different people anyways. And
I think Raw Underground could have been something if they actually tried with it. Because when the Hurt Business took it over and stuff, I thought that was tremendous. I thought they were going to run illegal underground gambling rings and everything. And I was like, oh, this is going to be good. And then, they just did absolutely nothing with it. They had Dabbo-Kato ripping dicks off in there. Oh, yeah. That was tremendous.
Yeah. That was a good one. Dolph Ziggler with doing eye gouges and that was Nia Jax just running in and just beating everyone up. Not even having fights, just beating people up randomly. I mean, the only people that benefited at all from it, but then in hindsight got no benefit from it, was Arturo Huras, who isn't with the company, Riddick Moss, who is now Madcap Moss, and I still don't understand what's going on there, and Dabba-Kato, who is now Commander Aziz. And I legitimately don't know when's the last time is he a regular part of the show? I know he was with Apollo, but
yeah, he's with Apollo. When the last time they were on television? I'm sure it was recently, but I don't remember it at all. I have no idea. I hope people are gonna dunk on Shane going to AEW and stuff. Dude, I hope Tony Khan just does it as a dick swinging move of here's Shane. He just comes out here. He just lets Shane say whatever he wants. It's probably be bad television. Some of the fans might turn on it. I would just pop me. That's all I really care about. Don't bring him back. Just the one thing. Omos. People in the chat are mentioning Omos came from Raw Underground.
Yeah, he did. He also came from being one of Tozawa's ninjas. Remember that?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. What was the last thing you? Oh wait, sorry. Mentioning AEW for one. Yeah, dick swinging move. TK. If you want to do it just for the lulz. But
it just honestly, Tony could come out. I know he doesn't want to do character stuff. He comes out I heard you got a Khan up there. Well, I got a McMahon, and here comes Shane. Just rip it into him, just talking shit about Vince. Be tremendous TV.
Dude, I saw Brett Lauderdale tweeting about what's his non-compete. I was like, oh my god, dude! If you bring Shane McMahon to GCW, that would be wild. Give me Shane McMahon versus Jimmy Lloyd in a death match, or Cardona in a death match. I mean, that'd be just so. What bizarro land would we be living in? It's very, very unlikely, obviously, but just the fact that it technically could happen is just so bizarre.
Give Shane McMahon his own show during WrestleMania weekend. Shane McMahon's dumb shit extravaganza. Call it that. I don't care. That's all it is. It's just stunt show, essentially. It's just one big stunt show. Because they already got blood sports. So I don't want to step on Josh Barnett's gimmick with Shane McMahon's underground. But give me Shane McMahon's stunt show for GCW weekend. You can do the X-Pac rematch. I'm talking about Waltman a little bit later. But Shane McMahon against Jeff Jarrett. Shane's going to go into business with Jeff. 100%.
Oh, man. He could wear an X-Punk jersey again and bring out the European Championship. Man, bring me right back to 1999.
Hell yeah, the Shane McMahon indie run is gonna kick people in the face. It's gonna fucking slap, man. Shane McMahon against John Gresham for the ROH title? You kidding me? This is what we're getting right here.
That's what I'm talking about, man. Y'all thought PCO's resurgence was cool a few years ago? Wait until the indie run of Shane O'Mac.
We could get Shane and PCO. Joey Janela's spring break. Let's just do Shane and PCO.
Yes. I'm down.
Your spotlight for WWE. It has sort of Shane McMahon implications because it sounds like he was supposed to be in this match coming up.
Yes, my spotlight this week for the WWE is who is going to be in the WWE title match at WrestleMania. And I'm talking who's going to be the champion and who's going to be the challenger, or will be multiple challengers. I'm assuming one-on-one. That's kind of where I'm going with, kind of in my line of thinking. The Elimination Chamber is coming up. We have Lashley defending the title against Lesnar, who is already guaranteed a shot at the Universal Championship against Roman Reigns on night 2 of WrestleMania, I believe, is when they're going to do that. So you have that. You have Seth freaking Rollins. You have Austin Theory, Riddle, and AJ Styles. Now, when you look at this match, you just kind of have to assume whoever comes out of this will be the WWE champion heading into WrestleMania. So I guess I'll start and I'll say it wouldn't surprise me at all if they put the belt right back on Brock, even though like it seems incredibly counterproductive, especially with Lashley just beating him again. But like they could still do title versus title at Mania. But I really think we're going to get a world title match on both nights. And whether, and there's still the possibility, like I said a while back, that they might do a mini tournament where like Roman still has to defend on night 1, Brock would have to defend on night 1, and then they wrestle each other on night 2 to unify or something. But assuming that isn't the case or whatever, like we'll just say WWE title, who do we think is going into this as the WWE champion? Who's the challenger going to be? Because I feel like there's always the chance of Brock, like I said. There's always the chance that Lashley retains. We just got to figure out who his challenger is. Big E is like apparently out of the mix because he's somebody.
On SmackDown. He's on SmackDown now.
Oh, so that just happened.
If you missed that, you're probably not alone. But yes, he is on SmackDown now.
Hashtag the brand split isn't real. And then my dark horse here is Riddle, because I don't think that they'd put the WWE title on Riddle, especially heading into WrestleMania right now. But I do think there's a possibility to do Riddle and Orton for the title, and like they might just do it at WrestleMania. And there's all these reports that Riddle was penciled in to maybe win the Royal Rumble and stuff like that. I don't know. So I guess where do you come up on all this stuff? Like, who do you think wins the Chamber, and like what do you think the WWE Championship match is at WrestleMania?
I've two kind of play it out theories here. One is that Brock just wins the Chamber. I can't imagine you're putting Brock in this Chamber to have him beat again. Like that seems tough for me. He just lost to Lashley. I know Roman came in and everything. You got to protect Brock because you're already doing Brock and Roman at Mania. So you can't just have him take another pinfall in this Chamber match unless, even if it's like every single guy hits their finisher on Brock and that eliminates him. I don't need Brock getting pinned on back-to-back pay-per-views. It's typically not what they do with Brock. They usually do a much better job of protecting him, and that's been everybody's complaint. But there's also a reason for that, and there's a reason why he is in traction, because he just doesn't lose like everybody else. So that makes me believe, because he's in the Chamber, Brock's just going to win, and they will do the unification match at WrestleMania. I do agree with you that it's very possible that night 1 they have the 2 title matches, and so Roman defends against somebody. Maybe that's where you do the Rollins rematch. Brock defends against somebody. Maybe that's where you do a Lashley rematch. You just do it in a one-on-one capacity, no interference or anything like that. And then you night 2, it's Brock and Roman. That's my first theory. My second is Orton gets in the Chamber match because he missed Raw. I don't know when he's supposed to be back. I'm assuming he's supposed to be back within the next couple of weeks, and he would be good to go to Saudi. He gets in the Chamber as like Riddle passes his spot to him. And you could set this up at either like Orton is like, hey, you won, like, cool. What if I was just in the Chamber? I've got experience in this match. What if I did this Chamber match for you? And Riddle is like, he loves Randy. So he would give it to him. But then that sets up Orton, and then Orton wins. That sets up Riddle turning on Orton of like, I gave to you, and like, you didn't give me anything. Like, you always just like treated me aside. You pushed me aside and everything. Like, I tried to love you and everything. You were just, you didn't have it, man. Like, I wanted to have fun, and you were just, you weren't there with me that entire time. Like, it felt like you were just playing to be my friend. You weren't actually my friend. And I knew you were going to turn on me at some point, so I turned on you first. Something like that.
I hit it 2 times and passed to the left, and you never pass it back to me, bro. What's going on?
Exactly. Honestly, bring that shit up. It's like Orton said it in an interview. He's like, he can grow my favorite strain. That's why I love Riddle. Riddle's like, I ain't growing your shit anymore. All right, find a different dealer. So that's how you set up the match between them. I could see it going that way. I'm leaning way more towards the Brock thing. I don't see how they're going to beat Brock 2 times, which makes me believe he's going to win, or they are going to find some way to just get him out of this chamber match. And maybe that's where Roman takes out Brock before the match, and then Orton gets in, but then our Saudi fans pissed that Brock's not wrestling on the show. I don't know if they actually care. That's sort of where I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think everything we've laid out are all legitimate possibilities. So yeah, I don't know. I guess there's really no real answer to my question today because we're gonna have to
they don't know
play out.
Yeah,
oh yeah, they don't know either. To be fair, yeah. But I think the most likely scenario is Brock just wins. Like I think that's probably the most likely. Because it is what and this is a whole other conversation we're not going to get into because this would be a whole podcast in itself. But I know a lot of people really were really disappointed with the Royal Rumble match this year, or the Royal Rumble pay-per-view in general this year. I just, but I'm going to say this, and people aren't going to like hearing this. I actually enjoyed the show, but I think the reason is because I go in with the lowest of low expectations. Like I go in knowing Cody's not showing up. I go in knowing Ronda Rousey's going to come in and win that Royal Rumble. I go in knowing Brock Lesnar is winning the other Royal Rumble, and that, like I hadn't watched the WWE since day one, and I could call the entire show. But what I'm getting at is like, if you go into it with really, really low expectations and you're not watching a 3-hour show every Monday and a 2-hour show every Friday, and like you get so just fed up with seeing the same stuff over and over, if you watch it once a month, it's actually a pretty enjoyable show because they catch you up with all the video packages and all that stuff. It just really decentivizes.
Jensen, I was looking for a boot for you to lick. I got a purse. Maybe a purse licker.
I'm gonna put my tongue up to the mic or to the camera.
God, my God, Stephen Jensen enjoyed the Royal Rumble. Everybody.
Well, because once again, like I went into it with very, very, very low expectations, and pretty much everything I expected is kind of what wound up happening. But I'll say this: like Rollins and Reigns, that was a great match. The ending was just terrible.
Sucked.
The ending was terrible. I mean, yeah. So I'm not considering saying like I love this show. I'm like recommending people to watch it, but I just feel like I watch WWE, which is completely different expectations than other people do. Like I watch it so rarely that it's just like when I do watch it, it's usually pretty good because I'm not sitting through 5 hours of. And the other thing is for the Weekender, I'm covering NXT UK and 205 Live. 205 Live just kind of become developmental to developmental, which is what it is. But NXT UK, they have really good matches and like stories that actually do make sense. So like when I watch the company, I usually like what I see, but I just don't watch it very much. So it just my expectations is different than I think than most people's.
I would imagine if you only just watch the big events and you don't have any expectations of, oh, this person's going to show up, this person's going to show up, it probably is a very enjoyable product. I'm trying to get to that level and watch less and less WWE. Probably doesn't help that we do this podcast. But
well, the good thing for this show is like, as long as you just know what's going on, like you can talk about the WWE. You know what I mean? Like it's something where I don't think you need to watch a 3-hour show every Monday to get the concept of what they're doing with the majority of the show. Just because they show the same thing over and over and over again. If you watch Raw, you're going to see the same match like 3 weeks in a row with like 50-50 booking all the way across the board. Like, it just is what it is. And I say this all the time. If you like the WWE, that's great. Like watch it. Like I'm not saying not to watch the show. All I'm saying is I watch it so rarely at this point that like, and I just understand the way that WWE looks at it. I'm not saying this is right or wrong. I'm just saying this is how they look at it. Brock's a real star. Ronda's a real star. Roman is who they're trying to make a star. And then there's everybody else. So you just have to understand that the show's going to revolve around those people. And I'm sorry, Ricochet and Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn and Finn Balor and these kind of guys, it just isn't going to happen for them. Like, I'm sorry if you're a fan, like, because it's the Brock Lesnar show if he's there. It's the Ronda Rousey show if she's there. Charlotte Flair is kind of in the Roman Reigns category. They view her as an actual star. So she's going to be the champion or in the title matches almost always. That's just how they look at it. And I understand that. So that's just kind of how I approach it,
Bless you, Stephen Jensen. You have the right philosophy when it comes to WWE, and I'm trying to get there. I don't get angry about certain things. Most of the stuff I just find it funny and I want to laugh about it. You actually have the right philosophy when it comes to WWE, 100%. let's move on to Impact. We both picked Impact topics for our other. I'll let you start because your topic is more of a bigger theme when it comes to Impact. I want to focus on just one certain wrestler in Impact. This is the JJ portion of the show, so we're gonna at least maintain his viewership.
Yeah. Okay. So do you want me to go into mine?
Yes.
Or yours?
What's your spotlight?
Okay, because our spotlights kind of overlap to a degree. So my spotlight is Impact Wrestling and Ring of Honor, their storyline right now with the Honor No More stable. And the fact that it is now official that at No Surrender, there's going to be a 10-man hardcore war. And it's going to be Team Impact, which is funny to say because this is so off topic, but back in high school, there was a thing called Team Impact that came to my high school. It was like a church. It was those guys who like go up on stage and like rip phone books in half and like smash through glass and stuff, like ice cubes. They were called Team Impact. Anyways, I'll never forget that. So we have Team Impact.
Wait, no, hold on. So they call themselves Team Impact, and they would basically do like strongman stuff.
Yeah, whatever you call that. Workaholics did an episode on.
Yes, I was gonna say this is exactly like Workaholics episode.
But no, that exists. Like those things are real. Like, and they set up at like churches and like do like motivational speeches and then like rip a phone book in half and like everyone goes crazy. Anyway, yeah, they were called Team Impact around where I was from, and they came to my high school once, and I'll just never forget it. Because it was basically pro wrestling, like without the wrestling. But so we have Team Impact, which is Chris Sabin, Eddie Edwards, Josh Alexander, who got a shout out on Dynamite last night, by the way. Rhino and Rich Swann against Honor No More, which is Matt Taven, Mike Bennett, PCO Vincent, and Kenny King. They'll of course be accompanied by Maria Kanellis. Now, there's a little bit of an underlying story here with Jonathan Gresham as well, because they're kind of courting him with the ROH group too, as this is going on. So there's a lot of layers to this. But the reason it's my spotlight is because I guess the question for me to you is, how have you liked the Ring of Honor invasion so far? And do you think that this hardcore war is this the end of that for now and like we don't see these ROH guys for a minute? Or do you think that they're going to continue to get like more and more integrated into Impact Wrestling?
Oh, I think they're going to continue with this. Like I expected to win this thing. And so they keep it going. I've enjoyed it because it has been like one of the biggest central focuses on the show. Like I think it's overshadowed the world title stuff a lot of weeks, which is completely fine by me. I don't have too much use for the world title scene right now. But when it comes to the guys that ROH has, like it would have been, I'm not saying it feels like total WCW invasion where they didn't have any of the top stars. They have Gresham there, which is obviously big. It would have been good if they could have had the Briscoes there. That would have been nice. We just saw Taven and Vincent, like they kind of did their blood feud. So now seeing them on the same side is a little weird for me. And like PCO, I mean, I know he's a former champion and everything. I wish they could have gotten, and honestly, this is kind of a representation of what ROH was in the final days here is like, it was these guys. And when you think of ROH and all their history and everything, these guys don't really jump off the page as, hey, these are like ROH through and through kind of guys. So that's sort of my, it's not a gripe because it's the best I can do. And really it does make sense outside of not getting like the Briscoes. It's tough. They found the guys that they probably should put in this role. But I think Team ROH will win because I think this is going to continue. And I think it's going to kind of be an overlying thing until ROH does make its return in April. And obviously No Surrender is coming up here in February. So yeah, I think they're going to run with this for another couple months.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I just wanted to get kind of an opinion on that because I could also see them like just kind of it being like a short-term thing, but I think it makes more sense if it's more long-term, myself personally. Then you also have the Bullet Club thing going on simultaneously, which I wanted to kind of tie in a little bit to this. How have you felt about that? Because obviously this isn't the Bullet Club of even a couple years ago, but like I feel personally like it's falling pretty flat, but like I like Jay White and I like Chris Bay and stuff, but like do you feel kind of the same way? It just kind of feels a little forced almost.
Man, when they had Jay White confront Kenny Omega last year, like that was that's when it felt like it really should have been kicked into gear to lead to that eventual match. And then that immediately got dropped. And now it's just a come down off of that. And it's tough to recreate that. It doesn't help that Bullet Club, like what's going on in New Japan right now, the Bullet Club stuff isn't good. It's just like Evil, I guess, is the de facto leader and he sucks. So
yeah,
like
no
it's
good.
Yeah, so like that doesn't help. Like Bullet Club just does not feel very hot right now, and a lot of it has to do with like Jay White's just been here in America. He's been doing New Japan Strong stuff, and I like a lot of New Japan Strong stuff. It's not a hot product because they just tape a bunch of stuff months out and then it finally airs, so it just doesn't. None of it feels all that fresh. So Bullet Club just doesn't feel very hot right now. It feels about as hot as it can be in Impact, but it's certainly not what it was like a year ago. I mean, I think today is the anniversary of Kenta showing up on Dynamite, and like Bullet Club, like that's when people are like, oh shit, Bullet Club Elite. Like here's Kenta coming over here, and Kenny's like, oh, tell brother Jay we said thank you and everything. Like that's when it felt like it was big time stuff. And now it's like, all right, cool. We got like Good Brothers and God and Jay White and everything. Like they're core members, but because a lot of those guys have fallen so much because of the pandemic and they haven't been able to be on television regularly. They haven't been in New Japan regularly. It definitely, and look, Impact is what it is. It wasn't hot throughout the pandemic running those empty arena shows. It definitely doesn't feel very hot.
Yeah, I feel exactly the same way you do. And I think a lot of the fan base does, unfortunately. Like a few years ago, it would have been cool as hell seeing God just in the US, just doing something on like mainstream US wrestling, and now it's just kind of like no one's really paying attention, it feels like. I do feel like Impact did get a bit more buzz coming out of Hard to Kill because of a lot of the stuff that happened on the show. And I do feel like there are more people paying attention to Impact right now than there were even a couple months ago. But I'm afraid that Impact is so cyclical with this, where the interest just kind of wanes, and then it gets high for the 4 pay-per-views a year, and in between it just kind of just the roller coaster of like people caring. And but like we were saying, if we could have had the Bullet Club, like a real Bullet Club story, like it just feels it's like too little too late. And on top of it too, like as much as I like Gallows and Anderson, like on a personal level, as wrestlers on the show, they're very generic to me. And like, that's the feud, is like the Bullet Club versus Gallows and Anderson. Now Gallows and Anderson are trying to, align with Violent by Design and stuff. So it's just getting kind of weird. It's not as big of a deal as it should be.
It is. And I mean, they're missing, like Jay White is a major player. God, major players, Good Brothers, major players from the past, but like people associate that Bullet Club stuff so much with Omega, Young Bucks, even Cody to a degree, and then certainly like Balor and AJ. Like if you don't have one of those figures, it is tough. And Jay White could have held that. I feel like could have held it together, but he's cooled off so much over the last year being in America due to the pandemic that his name it doesn't carry that same buzz that it did while he was in Japan. So I think it's not their fault. I mean, look, trying to tease Omega and Jay White at the end of that show and then never following up on it, that is kind of their fault. But as far as where the buzz is at right now, not totally their fault. It's not their fault that when Good Brothers wrestled at New Japan Strong, the God music was screwed up and then the mics were screwed up and no one cared about that segment in the New Japan USA show. So like that didn't help anybody for that match. Some of it's not Impact's fault. Some of it is, but it definitely feels a little cold. They're doing a lot of invasion storyline, a lot of like gang warfare. Hey, people want to knock AEW for gang warfare. That's all Impact is right now. It's a bunch of gang warfare stuff.
I think they're really just doing anything they can to just try to get any kind of buzz. So it's like throwing just a lot of stuff against the wall and just seeing what sticks, kind of thing.
That's sort of what Impact has been for a while now. It's like, all right, cool, we'll run a kid over with a car, but here's also this great X Division match with like Ace Austin. Now here's a women's world champion, but here's another great X Division match with Chris Bay. Like that's sort of what Impact has always been, is like, let's just do some dumb shit to hopefully get some buzz, and people will come in and they'll test our product and they'll love it. Because those pay-per-views for a while, that was the thing with them, right? Is like they would do these banger pay-per-views and then no one would care to watch the television.
Yeah.
Now it seems like at least people, like, they did good numbers this past week. So it seems like people are kind of checking out the television. I wonder how long Mickey had to do with that being in the Rumble. I wonder how much she had to do with that. And now that whole deal is over, will the viewership go down heading into No Surrender? I hope they continue to keep up, because they've got a lot of good talent and they're doing some good stuff. They're trying stuff. God bless them. They're trying.
Yeah. And to the point with Mickey, that did seem to help. It really did. As far as the viewership, which I'm not going to say I'm surprised by, but like it worked. Like what they were trying to accomplish, by having her on WWE and them mentioning the Knockouts Championship and her wearing the Knockouts title and all that stuff. I think it did translate into people checking out Impact, probably for the first time in a long time, maybe the first time ever. So that's the benefit of a lot of this cross promotion type stuff. Sometimes on the surface level, it doesn't. Now it's on Impact to try to capitalize, just like when they had access to Omega and their ratings spiked, but then like they couldn't get people to stick around because they didn't capitalize on it. The guys that he should have been, when Kenny Omega was the champion, we shouldn't have been sitting through him. As good as some of this stuff wound up being, it shouldn't have been him versus Callahan and him versus Edwards and stuff. It should have been him versus Ace Austin and him versus Chris Bay and stuff like that. Like, and then you're building your new stars and getting people to potentially stick around. And they haven't done they do a good job of like generating buzz occasionally, but they do a very poor job of capitalizing on the momentum. So
one guy, and this is going to be my spotlight that I feel they should really push is Steve Maclin, because this guy, I've praised him before, and I did not know he had this in him coming off his WWE run, because if you just watch his WWE run, it wasn't showcased a whole lot. Certainly not as a single star, but there was a lot of talk about him after he got released that like, yeah, this guy can go and everything. And since he's been in Impact, he's been tremendous, whether it's been vignettes or in the ring. I've loved this feud with Jonathan Gresham. I know the match was a couple weeks ago, the Pure Rules match that Gresham won. They're going to have the rematch tonight on Impact. I encourage everybody to check that out if it's half as good as it was as the Pure Rules match will be. But we didn't have a show then, but like the finish to that match with Gresham like using the ropes for leverage because everybody was out of rope breaks, that was so clever. Such clever stuff right there. And Jonathan Gresham, one of the smartest dudes in wrestling. But that was such a clever finish. And Maclin, again, he's been killing it, can wrestle a number of different styles. And I also want to spotlight it because he mentioned in an interview that he wants to potentially do some, it was with Ringside Rant. I want to make sure to shout them out. Ringside Rant did the interview. And he mentioned that like he's been talking with New Japan about doing some of that. Obviously, borders got to open and everything for him to go over there. I wouldn't be surprised if you see him in New Japan Strong at one of these tapings. And then once things do open up, I could definitely see him in New Japan and, him and Tomohiro Ishii just beating the shit out of each other in these matches.
Man, I love Ishii. I would love that matchup. There's a lot of good guys he could wrestle over there for sure. I've really enjoyed his stuff in Impact. I love that match with Gresham. Him using the closed fist right at the beginning, like just taking the warning right away, but getting the advantage from it. As you mentioned with the finish, Jonathan Gresham is probably the best guy in wrestling. Danielson's up there too, but Gresham I'd even edge just a little bit more towards. Like, he's the best guy at just getting the most basic moves over. Like, he can beat you with, we hardly ever see someone lose to a figure four leg lock. We hardly see anyone ever lose to like an octopus stretch and stuff like this. But like, he makes it to where it's just super, super believable. And he had that figure four in on Maclin at the end for so long. And there was all these near falls where Maclin, his shoulders would hit the mat and the ref would go for the count and he'd kick out. And then, like you said, I've never seen a finish like that before where Gresham like climbed up the ropes and like held on for the leverage. And that was too much for Maclin. And Maclin got caught with his pants down, basically. Like the pressure was too much. He went on, his shoulders hit the mat, and then it was like 1, 2, 3, and like he kicked out like right away, but it was just enough. Like that's all Gresham needed to get the job done right there at the very end. Like the ring psychology of Gresham is incredible, and I think that Steve Maclin is he's a really, really good example of somebody who the WWE had no idea what to do with, in that even I thought was a bit generic just from what I had seen of him. And then since coming to Impact, he has done nothing but impress me consistently. Especially, I mean, doing all this stuff with the X division where he didn't really fit in, quote unquote, but like he made it work with his style, and he's having just really, really good matches. So yeah, I'm all for it. And here's the thing, in Japan, especially, a guy like him is going to translate over huge because all he's got to do is show up wearing black boots and black trunks and just keep doing the matches he's doing right now, just against the guys over there. And he'll get over big time over there, I think. So, yeah, for sure.
I think he's be an absolute hit in Japan because you mentioned it, like black boots, black trunks, doesn't have like the greatest physique in the world. Like he looks just kind of like an everyman almost. And he still goes out there and just has killer matches with a variety of opponents. And his style definitely translates very, very well to Japan. So I hope eventually, once the borders get open and everything, he is able to make it out to Japan and do a tour over there, because I think he'd get over very big. And I'm like, good for Steve Maclin, man. WWE stuff, he wasn't in the best situation there, especially with that gimmick by the time he got to the main roster, and then whatever they're going to do with Corbin. But he's really found himself in Impact. And you like to see these guys succeed where you don't think that, oh, okay, they got released by WWE, they'll move on, they'll do nothing. It's cool seeing those guys like reinvent themselves or just really showcase who they truly are and succeed. I mean, his girlfriend, Deonna Purrazzo, very much the same way. Of WWE, lost in the shuffle, couldn't win. Now, arguably the best women's wrestler in the world.
Very true. I mean, just because the WWE, I mean, they unfortunately have a track record of doing this to a lot of people. So it's like, I never like to judge anybody based strictly off of their runs in the WWE, because a lot of the time, like you're saying, I mean, Deonna Purrazzo and Steve Maclin are two very, very good examples. Purrazzo is like the prime example of it. I mean, she legitimately she's one of the best wrestlers in the world, like regardless of gender right now. I mean, she really is. And she's, I mean, and she was just wasting away there. They just had no plans. It's just, yeah. So good. I'm very happy for Maclin. And someone put, they mentioned Serena Deeb in there. Not only was Serena Deeb an incredible wrestler, and, you know, all we really saw of her in the WWE was like forever ago with the Straight Edge Society and all that. They had her tucked away as a coach for like all these years and stuff. Like they just don't see the same value in a lot of these wrestlers. And it's just is what it is. It's like a lot of people saying in the chat, shout out to Joseph. You get what you get, I suppose.
People can say Serena Deeb, and that's completely fine. I would say like Sasha, Serena, and Deonna are top three. And if you want to argue for any of those three, you can make an argument for those three. They are all just tremendous professional wrestlers. Though talking American, I can't say enough. I know enough about the Joshi landscape to like actually know who could be better from over there compared to the American landscape. Jensen, the Indies. My spotlight this week for the Indies, Sean Waltman's back. Teaming, we saw him at the World on GCW. He came out, he helped Janela against Brian Myers and Matt Cardona. And then he's coming back to wrestle in an official capacity. He's going to team with Janela against Cardona and Myers. This was announced this week. GCW Heartbreak, I believe it is. And he's back. He's been cleared. He said he did an interview with Sports Illustrated, and he said like he wants to, you know, kind of do a run and things his way, and it's not going to be a nostalgia thing either. Like he said he's going to come back. He's going to play some new songs. He's not just going to come out there and play the hits. I'm looking forward to this Sean Waltman return, because he was one of my favorite dudes to watch growing up, whether it was 1-2-3 Kid, Lightning Kid, X-Pac, Sean Waltman, 6-Pac, whatever it was. He would have just killer matches. And then a lot of stuff got in the way, whether there was injuries or personal issues. Just a lot of stuff got in the way and ruined a lot of things for him. But I'm a big fan of Sean Waltman. I'm excited to see him back in this capacity. And yeah, man, what are your thoughts on Waltman coming back?
Dude, I love it, because I love it for a lot of reasons. One, there's this whole generation of wrestling fans that are just a little bit younger than me and you are, that have grown up on this term X-Pac heat. Yeah. That was the most undeserved terms like ever in wrestling. X-Pac was never, at least in my opinion, and I watched him from like the mid 90s through, you know, pretty much his whole career from then, you know, like, I mean, like you did. I mean, X-Pac was ultra over during the Attitude Era. Whether it was, WCW was a little different because he was more of like a lackey to the NWO, like Waltman with Hall and Nash and stuff. But like him as X-Pac was super popular. He's still probably one of the most popular wrestlers right now. If you were just to talk to someone who hasn't watched wrestling since the 90s, and you're like, hey, remember so-and-so? And they'll be like, I don't know. But if you mention X-Pac, at the very least, they'll throw you a crotch chop. Like they'll remember that. Like, so, I never thought that he deserved the whole X-Pac heat thing because he never made me want to change the channel. I can think of a lot of wrestlers that I would change the channel way before I would for X-Pac.
Yeah.
Now that said, him coming back to the Indies, I absolutely love it because when he came out, and he came out to that Run DMC.
That's the best
remix.
DX version. I don't care what anybody says. That's the best DX theme.
Dude, that was so sick. And not only that, he comes in, he hits a nice spinning heel kick, and then he does this like spin kick to the body, and on the rotation hits the X Factor. Like it was so smooth. Like he looks like he hasn't missed a beat. He teased the Bronco Buster, like he didn't hit it, but like he teased going for it on Cardona. At Hammerstein. So they left some meat on the bones there because like we didn't get to see all of his stuff again. And I'm sure he'll go out there and do all the stuff we remember. He'll probably do a flip over the top rope and and his kicks in the corner with like the spin kick and all that. I mean, I'm very much looking forward to it because you also know there's this whole generation of wrestling fans that grew up as fans of him and they're gonna want him to look good too. Like they're gonna, you know what I mean? Like so I am all for it. I'm all for anybody coming back if they can still go in the ring and there's still a demand to see them and they aren't in the process like screwing up the progression of the next generation, which I don't think is going to, I think, let me put it this way. I think X-Pac will only add to it. Like, yes, for X-Pac to have a match with someone like Jordan Oliver or someone, for instance, win or lose, Jordan Oliver hits a new level just by having a match with X-Pac. Like there's a lot of benefit there, and it looks like he can still go. He looks like he's in good shape, and I'm happy to see the redemption, man. I mean, I'm sure you remember, man, all the sex tapes and the drugs and the reality shows, and like the guy just looked like he was at the bottom of the barrel years back, and now he looks like he's really turned it around, and good on him. I love to see him get another chance like this.
Yeah, 100%. And again, he's turned his life around, and now he gets to go out the way that he wants to go out. Looks in great shape. He said that, and he's not gonna totally play the hits. I'm with you. We'll see like a Bronco Buster. We'll see the spin kick in the corner and all that stuff. But I think he's gonna add some new stuff. I think he's gonna surprise some people. And you're also right in that like he's gonna elevate a lot of these guys on the indies. Like right now, he's in a match with Janela, Cardona, Myers. Like all these guys are established. He ain't messing up anything there. The indies is definitely less about wins and losses and more just about like, hey, cool, have this great match, kind of boost your name type of thing. Because I look at a guy like Too Cold Scorpio and like I love Too Cold Scorpio. He was never really the name that Sean Waltman X-Pac was, but Scorpio just goes out there. People are just like happy to wrestle this guy. They don't care if they win or lose. He goes out there, he has these great matches, and people get buzz off just facing Scorpio. And I feel like Waltman is in that same boat, but even a little bit higher because, again, I think Waltman is just a bigger name throughout history than Scorpio. I don't think that can be really disputed. So I think it's going to work similar to that is he's going to do like some big time matches and stuff, but he's going to go out there and just kind of wrestle like cool little dream matches that you weren't thinking of. And people are just going to be really excited to see him do this shit.
Yeah, I totally agree with all of that, and if he can go in the ring still, like it looks like he can, it's just going to make it all that much better. And let's also not forget, I mean, Kevin Nash popped up in Detroit at GCW. Like, I have no idea what the condition of Scott Hall is. I don't know, but like, I my point is there's some people that are linked to X-Pac that maybe they could even do a little thing where it doesn't even have to all be wrestling related, but just having like the Wolf Pack or something just like involved in GCW in any way is the perfect show for something like that. Because once again, it's not going to overshadow the newer stars that they have. GCW is such a variety show between the death matches and the technical matches and the young stars and the veterans and all this stuff that I think there is a place for guys like Sean Waltman and Kevin Nash and stuff, wrestling or not, to just be a part of the show to some degree. So I'm excited for it personally.
100%. I cannot wait to see Waltman back. That's the GCW show later on this month. Jensen, your indie spotlight has to do with Bola, which wrapped up this past weekend.
Yes, so PWG Bola, Battle of Los Angeles, one of, if not the most prestigious tournament in all of independent wrestling. I'd say it's right up there with tournaments like the Scenic City Invitational in Chattanooga. That's one of my favorites as well. There's some really, really, really prestigious tournaments out there on the indies. Bola, probably the most well-known, and they bring in a lot of great talent. And I've read the results, and spoiler alert, I feel like this can't really be a spoiler because you won't be able to see the show for like 6 months, but like, Daniel Garcia won, which I think is incredible. Good for him. I mean, the calendar year that this guy has had since this time last year to now, phenomenal. The guy's the future of wrestling. Love it. Love seeing him get that win. Awesome. But this is my point, right? Is like, it's 2022. These need to be streamed live. And if not live, like the next day. I mean, if you're trying to incentivize people to go live to the show, so you don't want to show it live to everyone else online or whatever, I don't like that, but like, I can accept it if you're putting the show out, within the next week or something. But I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to maximize their profits because they still do the DVD and Blu-ray thing. And it sounds like it's going to be like 6 months until we can watch Bola if you weren't there live. And times have just changed. At one point, PWG could get away with that. Ring of Honor, their whole model was that years ago. It was all you had to wait for DVDs, and then they turned to iPay-per-view and never looked back. I mean, and that's just kind of my spotlight is PWG is a company that attracts a really hardcore audience of fans. They bring in great professional wrestlers. They get a lot of buzz for their shows. And it's just an awesome promotion for so many reasons. And the one negative is that we can't watch their shows live. And that not only that, we have to wait like half a year to watch this stuff. And even on top of that, I don't want to buy a DVD or a Blu-ray anymore. Like I just want to hit a button on my computer or on my Xbox or whatever, and like boom, it's right there, and I've got it forever. Like it's 2022. Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, y'all got to figure this out, and y'all got to start streaming these shows live. I know you're leaving money on the table because, or at least they think you're leaving money on the table because what they do is they'll sell the DVDs. They'll make money on that. They'll put extras on the DVDs, like behind the extra matches or like behind the scenes footage and extra stuff. And they really load those DVDs up. But I think on the flip side, they're alienating a big part of business too, because I think a lot of people just don't buy the DVD or just don't watch Bola. Because by that time it happened half a year ago, and it's just like, well, I already know what happened, and so much has happened since then. I'm not gonna pay for this anymore. I think a lot more people would buy the show and watch the show if it was live. So that's where I'm at with PWG.
I don't necessarily know if they need to be live, because the production of running live is certainly different than the production of running tape. I do think 6 months is kind of outrageous to be able to watch this. Like Daniel Garcia has big buzz right now. I assume in 6 months it'll be very good still, but there's also the possibility that something could happen in the next 6 months where Garcia is just not that guy, and then you're just now getting around to watching his Bola run and everything. And that's a tough thing to deal with, is like, you don't know where the industry is going to be in 6 months when these shows finally come out on streaming or finally come out on DVD. I think if you can cut it down to like a week, that would be cool. If you can get the shows out the following week, that would be great. I don't know what the production cost of all this stuff is, because like you said, their goal is to make money, which it should be. And so I don't know how much talent cost is. I don't know anything about the cost of any of this stuff, but they've been doing it this way for a very long time, and bless them, they managed to survive this entire time. But the times have changed. There are more options than ever when it comes to streaming and content and content consumption. And you would think they would want to try to get with the times a little bit more than just, hey, here's, you got to wait 6 months, subscribe to High Spots, buy the DVD, whatever it might be. You can still put out DVDs. You can still do your collector stuff, but, put some bonuses on the DVD if you need to incentivize people to buy those. But it is it is tough as a wrestling fan to hear about, this great Daniel Garcia match, or this great, what match people say was really good? Speedball Bailey against, I think, Shelley. I think people were saying that match was like off the charts, great. And it's like, yeah, cool. We'll watch it in 6 months. Like, that's tough.
Exactly. That's my whole point. Is it's just, I mean, I just feel like a lot of people are going to be talking about Bola right now, and then 6 months from now, no one's going to be talking about it, and like they're just going to be really, really low, just low incentive to buy the show at that point. It just, and even at that point, it's like you've waited that long. I'm not advocating this or telling people to do this, but like, let's keep it real. Like, if that show comes out 6 months from now, but a few weeks after that, someone's probably going to have it uploaded online. You can just watch it for free. Like, people are just going to, you've already waited 6 months. Like, what's waiting another few weeks once the DVD comes out to just, someone will upload it online. You know what I mean? It's just, I hate to say that. And I'm not, I support these companies. I pay for these streaming services and stuff like that. But I'm just saying, in the mind of a wrestling fan, you're already waiting half the year. You know, I just feel like a lot of people just aren't going to pay for it. You know, it's just unfortunate.
I don't know what we know what PWG can do. I don't know if PWG wants to do any of this stuff, because they've been back now for 6 months. Their first show back, the Mystery Vortex show, that just hit the High Spots Network. And that's when people are surprised, like, 6 months, this feels early. Like, think about that. It's 6 months. People are like, oh man, this is actually early. So it's been 6 months since they've been back. I don't know if they actually want to do anything different. They might just be okay with doing it this way. And if they are, then what can you do? Move to Los Angeles, go to the Globe Theater to watch all these shows. That's really all I can say.
I mean, that's really it, you know? And that's the thing. I'm not gonna sit here and be like PWG is they're foolish, or that they're like, I'm not gonna try to get in the minds of them as business people and stuff and their ideas and what they want to do. I'm just saying, as a fan, you know, and I say the same thing about MLW, by the way. They don't wait 6 months, but a lot of the time they'll have like a big show that's being taped for like a quote unquote pay-per-view, but it won't come out for like 3 weeks or a month or whatever from the time of the reason why it's so important in today's landscape is because with the internet, all this stuff gets out and it's unavoidable. If you're a wrestling fan, you're going to come across the results to this stuff, even if you don't want to in most cases. Like, you'll see pictures that people have posted from the show, or some sort of spoilers or whatever will pop up wherever. It just, you know, it just, you know, if PWG wants to keep doing this, that's totally fine. And that's just on them. But as a fan who does not live anywhere near California that wants to watch these shows,
you got to move, Stephen Jensen. If you want your PWG fix, move to California.
But how crazy is it?
Follow MLW. Go on tour with MLW. Go to they're going to Dallas soon. They're going to Charlotte. I think they're going to Chicago. I don't know if that's true, but they're going to all these places. Yeah, be like a groupie who follows all these bands and load up and just follow MLW around. That's right. What they want.
Right. So they're exactly right. And that's the whole thing, is like, it's just crazy that I could go to a show locally in a bar in front of 50 people and watch that live on IWTV. You know what I mean? But like, you can't watch Bola. Like, what? You know, that's just how I feel about it. But that all said, I want to reiterate, PWG does a great job. They always have. A lot of the stars of today that you're seeing on mainstream wrestling came through Bola. I think they definitely have a place in wrestling. I'm excited for them to come back. I love what they've done. I love the talent they bring in. They have incredible matches. Like, I love everything about PWG. I just want to be able to watch it. Even just 6 months is just a long time, man. I mean, 6 months. So that's just where I'm at with it.
Fair. I mean, I'm with you. Honestly, I'm completely with you. It used to be the pregnancy was faster than PWG, so we should give them a little bit of credit that they've at least gone down for 6 months.
Yeah, we'll give them credit that it doesn't take like 10 months anymore. Now it's like only half a year until you can watch their shows.
Again, it used to be you could conceive and deliver the child before you could watch a PWG show. So they've cut that down at least.
Yeah. True. But support PWG, everyone, honestly. Like, they are a great company. I really, really love what they do. It'd just be great to watch. I would love to watch Daniel Garcia win Bolo right now, but I can't.
Jensen is so hurt by this. He's so hurt.
I know. The times have just changed, man. I don't want to sound like I'm beating a dead horse, but like, you can watch, dude. I mean, there are companies that don't even have. And I'm not saying this is great, but I'm saying they at least try. There are some companies I'll literally watch that somebody is clearly just filming the show on their own cell phone and uploading it live to Twitch. Like,
that was I don't know. I don't remember if you watched this. It was an Impact Plus special, and Josh Matthews, like, his battery was dying on his phone, and they were like filming it. They were filming it like on Josh Matthews' phone. He's like, I gotta have my phone back. Like, I gotta charge it. My battery is dying.
Oh my god, that's so fun. The little like battery things like blinking in the corner, like.
That's how like Impact gets by, man. They just film it all on the iPhone. That's how Impact shoots all the material.
Man.
Guys, earlier this week, Stephen Jensen and I spoke to IWTV Independent Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion AC Mack. We talked about him last week on the show. That was Jensen's spotlight for the Indies. AC Mack winning that title, defeating Alex Shelley. And earlier this week, AC Mack was kind enough to give us 35 minutes of his time. We talked about his title win. We talked about his future, talked about some mental health stuff. So you get to know AC Mack as a wrestler, as a person, and hopefully you guys enjoy that. Jensen, anything else to say before I throw to this interview?
No, me and Jeremy will pop back on here right after the interview to bid you adieu. But I really enjoyed doing this interview with AC. He's a great dude. I think people are going to really enjoy this. And this is the current reigning defending IWTV Independent Wrestling World Champion, AC Mack.
Here we go, everyone.
Welcome to the interview portion of the Spotlight. This is our creator Spotlight. I, of course, am Stephen Jensen, joined as always with Jeremy Lambert. And today, our guest is the former longtime Action Wrestling champion, the former Southern Underground Pro Bone Storm champion, the 2021 SCI tournament winner. He hails from the SWATs of Atlanta, Georgia, and he is your new current reigning and defending IWTV Independent Wrestling World Champion. He is the Mack of all trades, AC Mack. Thank you for joining us, man. How are you and Iris doing today?
Man, we are doing just well. We're on top of the world. On top of the world. It's been over a week now, and my phone notifications are still going off. People are hitting me up about bookings, podcasts, just everything out the wazoo. So it's been dope. I feel very loved. So it's the first time I've ever had to like put my phone on do not disturb just to go to sleep. So that's interesting.
Man, I love to hear it. And you know, the big news, of course, with you right now is winning that IWTV World Championship. And I'm super happy for you, man. I've followed your career for quite a long time now. I've been in the building there at the Basement East, watching you do your thing in Nashville, Tyrone, Georgia for Action Wrestling. I'm good buddies with Jumpin' Johnny Mosley, who does a lot of the commentary around the Southeast.
Right.
And so I'm very much have followed this journey, the SCI Rumble victory, all the Scenic City tournaments. Like I've followed this for years now, and to have you win that title, especially in Tyrone, Georgia, which is like, that's your building, that's your crowd, your people out there. Like, how did it feel not just winning the IWTV title, but like it all happened there, which had to have made it, extra special?
Yes, it made it extra special. I was beyond nervous. That whole week, I was just freaking out and having like little mini attacks, but it felt great. They planned to where we had to double down and everybody would like rush the ring, support. I knew we had that planned, but like I forgot, if that makes sense. So when it happened, it we're all tired. I'm still nervous even in the ring, and it just kind of gave me like a jolt of energy. So it felt great. It felt like a birthday party. It felt like everybody was there to help celebrate you. And it was a big moment. A lot of people were able to put their egos aside and put matches on the card. So it was cool for the South to band together and do something cool like that. I'm very proud of it. It's an historic moment, and it's definitely the biggest moment of my career so far. So it felt amazing.
I gotta say, Stephen Jensen, he's like, I gotta do the introduction because he has a certain way that he does the introduction. And I hope Jensen can be brought along with you everywhere to do this intro for you, because I thought he did a tremendous job with the intro there.
Not like he does though. Like, so this is part of what makes AC Mack so great, is like, as great as he is in the ring, he's an even better talker in my opinion. And he comes out there and do you give the refs a heads up, by the way, that they're going to be holding that title belt over their head for like 5 minutes while you're but no, that's part of what's so great about what you do, man, is like you come out and you get the crowd to either love you or hate you on the microphone before the match even starts. And I think that's a big part of what you do. Hey, I'll take the compliment, Jeremy, doing the intro there, but I don't even do it justice the way that he does it.
Yeah, I do talk to the ref beforehand, and the announcers too. If I go somewhere new, they have to do their job and go around and get everybody's information. And I'm not a dick about it. Like I'll let them know before, if they don't know already, So I'm a nice guy in real life, believe it or not.
You mentioned that you said this in the pre-match promo, and then you mentioned it here. Everybody kind of coming together to get this match to happen. How much of a struggle was it to put this together? Because you also, in your post-match promo, you mentioned Beyond and Drew. It seemed like there was, and then you guys have had your Twitter beef with each other that I've seen. Yeah. Like, how much of a struggle was it to really get this match with Alex Shelley for this title together at this venue in this event?
Well, to put the matches together for the card, or to get everybody on board, that actually wasn't a struggle, believe it or not. But to have the match with Alex Shelley and to have it here in the South, that was the biggest struggle. As you can see, I won, the SCI in August, and I didn't get the title shot until a few weeks ago here in January. So it took a minute. It took a minute. For whatever reason, they didn't want that championship defended down here, probably because they knew this was going to happen. But yeah, it was a huge struggle, and it took me calling IWTV out. It took me calling Jerry out on every live show I could get on. Anytime I had a mic and was with IWTV, I let them know that, hey, I'm still here. I'm still waiting. I didn't get my shot yet. So it was a struggle. We're here now though, but it was a struggle.
Yeah, especially like down here in the South, some names I wanted to get just kind of some thoughts on from you. Just kind of like a word or two, or like anything you'd like to say about these three people. I was interested in, especially with you talking about the things that it takes to get things like this to happen really in the South, or, get everyone together and the titles and how all that gets worked out. Matt Griffin, Scott Hensley, and Dylan Hales. Those are three names that I'd kind of like to get your opinion on.
That is a team that believed in me, years ago. I think the first time I went to a Scenic City event was the Rumble in 2017, I want to say. And ironically, I was only in it for like 17 seconds. But
was that the one where you won? You were the last entrant into the match? And
no, I'm talking about maybe a year or two before, maybe 2 years before that.
Right. Okay.
Maybe.
Gotcha.
I'm getting the years mixed up, but that was the first time. And, I rocked with them, and they kept saying like, we got you. I didn't know that I was the long-term play. I just kind of kept seeing things, and if it didn't go my way, I'd say something, and they'd be like, no, we got you. We rocking with you. You are the long play. That's what they kept saying. And they believed in me. They kept making sure I was good. Wrestlers, we have our down moments. Everybody's not always chipper. It can get pretty dark. And in those moments, they were kind of reminding me, like, we're working on this. We're talking with IWTV. We're really working. You are the long play. So stick with us. I trust them. They've acted as my counselors, my agents, my motivators. I can't say. I don't know. They really believed in me. That's the first thing I can think of. So I really do appreciate it because they saw something in me more, I guess, more than I did at the time. I know they pitched IWTV to me a while back when it was Powerbomb TV.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand what the vision was. I was like, yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, we hit a wrestle. Yeah, I'll let y'all handle whatever you're talking about. But I didn't realize what it could become. I didn't realize what it was going to be. So it's just funny looking back at it. They definitely believed in that vision, and I trusted them. And look, we're here now.
What are your plans for the title? Because it's been defended all over, and there's been the beef with the Northeast and everything. So what are your plans for the title moving forward?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the Northeast because, I want to make a statement to them. I want them to know that, you're no longer overlooking us. This championship is only going to be defended in the Southeast, only in the South. So they're going to have to go without a championship for a while because I'm not letting this go. We've got some big things coming up. I'm really, really excited. I can't speak on too much now, but we've got stuff planned out until about August for different shows, festivals, and things like that. So we're going to have some fun. And I'm looking forward to IWTV putting more of a spotlight on Southern wrestlers because there's a slew of us down here. And a lot of the big names that you hear about, a lot of them come from the South. And a lot of people don't know that because, they're national. They're on a national scale, which is dope. But we do need to give credit where credit is due. And the South is breeding a lot of good talent. And so that's what I want this reign to be. I want people to look back on this and be like, dang, he put the whole region on his back.
Dude, I love that so much because, I lived in Nashville for like 10 years. I relocated to Atlanta recently. So like I'm very into SUP, SCI in action. Like those are like my three main indies in this area. And you're very, very heavily featured, obviously, across the board. And it's really cool to have that down here. Kind of these like brother and sister promotions with one another where you get to see it's the best. It's the best. Yeah. And, you made history by winning your championship and you cut some of the best promos I've ever heard in wrestling that night, man. And I really, honestly, like the speech that you gave after winning the IWTV title, I thought was absolutely incredible. I'm telling anyone that wants to hear my opinion on wrestling, I'm saying, go watch Southeast First on IWTV.
Oh my
gosh. The show from start to finish was fire. I mean, the crowd was hot as hell. You weren't leaving that building without that title. Like those people had your back to the point where like it would have been very, very, very upsetting if you did not win that match.
Sign? If Mack loses, we riot.
Yeah, yes. Which was like
came out.
yes. And that's the truth. I mean, and you mentioned it before. Everyone from the back, came out, they're all beating on the ring apron and the crowd's going crazy throughout the match. And then you win. The 1, 2, 3 happens, the crowd goes nuts. And then you cut this speech, and I guess what is the response been since talking about being openly gay and being the champion and representation for not just LGBTQ plus, but also being African American? I mean, this is something that I think is really big for representation in a lot of ways in wrestling.
So I don't even know how to describe it. It's bigger than what I even thought of. So the match happened Friday, and I think we did the research and found out that Wednesday that, oh shit, we're about to do this. It's about to be a thing. But it wasn't until the feedback afterwards to where I have the Gay Times hit me up on Instagram. Another publishing company over in the UK hit me up and they want to set up a shoot here. A few of the gay dating sites shouted me out on Twitter. Like it is blowing my mind that they would even know that this happened. So that's been huge. And with the support even from the African American community as well, especially on Twitter, it's like, you get pulled in both directions, but it's really, really cool to be able to put on for so many different communities all at once, the gay community, the African American community, the Southern community. and then just the wrestling community as a whole. You know, it's a little joke in history, and I think it's a good thing.
Do you feel like any more pressure or weight knowing that you are representing so many communities?
Yeah. Almost to an unhealthy degree, just the nerves and the anxiety and stuff like that. But I've been trying to manage it. I speak to my friends a lot. My new boyfriend, you know, he helps a lot with that. My family. It just comes with the territory when you care about something so much, and now you have this responsibility and you want everything to go as great as it possibly can. You know, you worry about things like that. It's natural. It's normal. You know, it's not. What am I trying to say? It comes with the territory, but it definitely, that pressure is definitely there. I do want to make that part known. Yes.
Well, I can vouch for something you said a little earlier. You said, "Hey, I'm actually a really nice guy. If you come up and you want to meet me, I'm a really nice guy." And I can vouch for that because I've talked about this before on like various platforms. But like the first time I met MJF, for instance, like outside of like at a wrestling event, but like this happened, no one else was around. It was just me and him pretty much in a room, and I like went to shake his hand and he like left me hanging and like told me to go F myself, and there was no one else around. And I was like, wait a second, like this guy is serious? Like he's actually just this mean? Like, and then I realized he was doing it to other people, and I was like, oh, this guy's actually a genius. Like I can't believe what he's doing. But I
believe it too with him. If you would have told me that about other people, I'd be like, that's a little much. But with MJF, it makes sense.
And with you, I kind of like was almost afraid because I was like, because I've talked to you at like the Basement East before, and I remember just kind of in passing, and me being like, I'm gonna say hi to AC Mack. I hope he isn't anything like what I see when he's talking his trash, you know, before he whacks someone in the head with a steel chair. What's that? No. This was I would usually, so at the Basement East, I kind of hang around and do some interviews and stuff sometimes before the show. So I'd be kind of there when they're getting the ring set up and whatnot. And I remember you just kind of like walking in, and I was just like said hello or something, and you were just like super nice. You were like, "Oh, hey man, thanks for coming out and supporting the show. Like really happy to be here today." And like wasn't an interview or anything. It was just saying hello before the show. And I remember being like, dude, this was nothing like meeting MJF. Like AC Mack can turn the switch on and off. Like he's so I tried to like kind of kayfabe it for a while and like not tell people like he's actually a really nice guy. But then like now that you're getting to do more stuff as kind of a good guy or babyface in wrestling, you get to show that more, you know, kind of on screen. So I just wanted to put that out there. Like if you meet AC Mack in person, even if he's a total jerk on the show, he'll be very nice to you, like when you go up and meet him.
I'm pretty cool. I'm pretty chill, man. And I had a few people tell me that too. They're like, "Oh, you're not like your character. You know, I thought you'd be a lot more, not mean, but just like they thought I would be like bigger, I guess, behind the scenes." And I'm like, no, I'm the exact opposite. I would rather just chill and go to the movies all day, man. I'm not. I leave all that out there, man.
You mentioned you know, the ups and downs of a wrestler, really just any person in general, not just wrestling. Now this new pressure. What are some of the things you mentioned the support that you have from your new boyfriend and others in the southern part in wrestling? Like anything else that you do to kind of like really take care of your mental health, because it's a big topic in life, but I'm always interested in that, what other people kind of do to really take care of themselves in that regard, because it's extremely important, especially nowadays with everything going on.
And I feel like it's getting worse. I don't know if it's social media or what, but like I feel like it's for the people who already have it. I feel like it's getting stronger or worse, like I said. And the people who haven't had it before or never experienced it, I think they're just starting to now. It's starting to seep into them. And I don't know, it sucks. But some of the things I do, I listen to music. Very, very big music guy. I mentioned going to the movies. I do that a lot. I love movies, and I love going to the theaters alone. I know that's weird, but I'd rather go and see like 2 or 3 movies. I have like a movie subscription deal, and you just unlimited go, and you just go whenever. I'm obsessed with movie popcorn. I like being in that zone. I like being in that environment, and in the new Matrix movie, they have this quote that says, nothing kills anxiety more than a little bit of nostalgia. And I agree with that. Like watching old TV shows that you grew up with, or like connecting with old friends. I'm still cool with my high school friends. I try to make the Taco Tuesday every week. But like, I know when I have like big matches coming up, or if I'm super, super nervous, I love being around them because they just remind me of home. They remind me of something familiar. They're my biggest cheerleaders. So any kind of doubt that I may have, they make sure they did that real quick. But yeah, it's just a lot of love with the friends, with families, with the boyfriend. Like, it's just a lot of love. I think that helps a lot. And just being reminded that, you know, you are somebody special to somebody, something special to somebody. You know what I'm trying to say? Something like that. So just those little small reminders. That's what does it. Excuse me. That's what does it for me. The little small things.
Yeah, I like that a lot. But I think that's really good advice about the nostalgia, because I know that, like, without really thinking about that, I do that all the time when I'm feeling down. I watch something that I liked when I was a kid, or hang out with like my buddies from back in the day. Yeah, for sure.
Some like old songs that like unlock old memories that were really not, you know, they put you in a good space. So I do a lot of that. Yeah,
I love that. Another question I had kind of along the same lines is, you know, being loved or hated as a wrestler. Do you have any preference on being okay? So I assume that was the case. Is that because of the freedom and all the things you get to do and say, or is it easier on you in the ring? I only ask that because your style differentiates quite a bit. Like as a heel, it's a lot of like getting your butt kicked and then like kicking someone in the nuts and then rolling them up or hitting the Mack 10. As a baby face, like you're like working full matches like back and forth, and it's a bit different of a style, I feel like. So I just wanted your opinion on that.
Honestly, all of that is correct. So as a heel, you have more freedom. As a heel, you're not, I don't want to say working as hard, but you're right. Like normally it's the baby face that's getting the flashier moves and the flashier spots normally. So it is kind of an easier load there. And on top of that, for me specifically, with the character, the whole AC Mack bravado, for me, I just think it's easier to jump into that as a heel. They always say, you know, you can do the same thing as a face and blah, blah, blah. It's true, but it's a different vehicle for me. It's a little bit more raw as a heel. It's the stronger facials, I think. You kind of sit in moments a little bit more. And I enjoy that. It's like a cinematic kind of performance. And with me loving movies so much, I lean towards that a little bit more. Yeah. Sure.
And I guess that kind of leads me to my next question. And it was one of the first things I thought of when you won the title, the IWTV title at Action, was, well, are we going to see kind of like a Bret Hart type scenario where you're a massive baby face in the South, but you're a heel everywhere else?
Yeah. And that's what we're going for.
Okay.
That's what we're going for. And I love it because even though I do have a preference, it is going to be cool kind of playing the, you know, going back and forth and knowing something, you know, everything isn't going to be the same. Like I have a title defense this Friday and I'm heel just because of the storyline in that specific venue. And I'm going to go up north for something I can't say yet, but I'm going to be heel there, and I come back down, I'm a face, and it's going to be a lot of fun. It makes it interesting for the promos we can cut, for the stories we can have. So I'm looking forward to it. Definitely prefer heel, but I like you said, this Bret Hart thing. I like the ping pong. So
I'm excited as a fan. Yeah. I'm excited for it.
Any name out there that you want to step in the ring with and defend this title against? Because you look at some of the title holders who've had this thing. Orange Cassidy, Alex Shelley just had it, Wheeler Yuta, and whom they defended it against. Like this thing is an attraction, and you gotta pick your opponents here.
Oh, so many people. Oh my gosh. O'Shea Edwards. I've known him for so long. Believe it or not, we have never had a one-on-one match. Darius Lockhart. Anthony Henry again. We had a great match. I would love to run it back with the championship on the line in the South, of course. I'm a really big fan of Don't Doubt Miles. I like him. I feel like him and me as like a hot heel, like, oh God, it's so easy to sell itself. Trisha Dora, Darius Carter, who else? There's so many. I'm trying to name everybody. I wish Brett Eisen was still here. We run it back. I know I've worked him so many times, but it's just always a good time. John Davis, JD Drake, Mikowski. I know he on the list. I know he's been a top contender for a minute, and I'm a fair guy. I'll give you the shot. You just got to come down here for it. You got to get on that flight. Who else? There's so many people. Dang. I'm trying to get some more.
I mean, it's a heck of a list. Like, I love everyone you're mentioning right now. Another name
so
that
many
comes
more too, I promise, guys.
Another name that comes to mind. I've been saying since last year. Now, I don't know if you'll be involved in the 2022 SCI tournament. I'm hoping you are. Mm-hmm. But I really feel like this is going to be a big year for Jaden Newman, he's been around for a while, but like he's really blowing up more recently. He's another guy I'd like to see kind of in that mix, possibly in the IWTV title mix. I love you mentioned Brett Eisen too. I'm hoping he's back sometime soon. I know he's taking some time off right now, but y'all got some unfinished business at SUP as well.
Right. And actually, at SUP is where I want to face O'Shea.
Yep.
That was I don't want to say my first time seeing him in that light, but just like watching him make his entrance in that building with that 50 Cent song, it was something special. It was very, I'm going to use the word again, cinematic, man. It hyped me up. I was excited. There's some more names up north too I'm forgetting, but yes. I love that you mentioned Jaden too. He has so much heart. And you're right. He is on the come up, and when his moment hits, it's gonna be beautiful. Probably even bigger than mine, just because of how long his journey has been. He's been wrestling longer than I have, and he's got so much history right there in Chattanooga with TWE and the SCI as a whole, and how much he helps out and how much him and his entire family supports that movement. I want nothing but the absolute best for him. So when that happens, it's gonna be big, and I hope I'm there for it. I hope I get to see it and witness it with my own eyes.
You mentioned music and television, or music and movies help you out with the mental health and everything. Some favorite artists and favorite songs that pull you out of a bad state, put you in a good state. And the movies, you mentioned The Matrix, but other movies that maybe one do put you in a good state, but two, you mentioned that sometimes you'll take from movies and they'll help you with like facial expressions and stuff. Any movies that you sort of studied and be like, hey, this has helped me with my wrestling and my character work?
Oh man. Okay, I'm gonna do that part last because that's a good one. Oh, that's a good one. But as far as music goes, I was born in '92, and so anything between like 2000 and like 2006ish is like what I consider like my childhood, when I'm like conscious and know what's going on. So like some Missy Elliott, some T.I., a little bit of Outkast. They were kind of winding down towards that time. Nelly, if I didn't say him already, I feel like I just did.
I felt a favorite Nelly track.
Favorite Nelly track? Oh my God.
Just one.
And it's on the Dilemma. It's on the what's it called? Nellyville album. I have to get back to you on that. I don't know. That's all. I look at the track list again. But who else? Chinky.
Chinky. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
right.
So Lil Jon and Eastside Boys, like the Southern rap scene, like around that time, like a lot of that just reminds me of like late elementary school and middle school, and just going to the skating ring and just not having a care in the world and just having a good childhood. So
for you, was that Sparkles skating ring?
No. Cascade down here.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha. A little bit more south, but just like the movie ATL with T.I., we were all at Cascade. That's where I met Sierra. It was dope. It was a lot of good memories. So stuff like that, just being reminded of that, just kind of puts me at ease. It reminds me of home. So that helps. And as far as movies with facial expressions, I don't have Not necessarily facial expressions, but The Matrix is my favorite movie of all time. And just the way they carried themselves, everything was very like precise and like cyberpunk with the clothing. I thought that was dope. As far as expressions go, I would say maybe Game of Thrones. I know it's not a movie, but
not the last season.
Yeah,
not the last
I didn't mind
season,
it.
though.
Everybody hated it.
Oh no,
I didn't mind it. I didn't mind it. It was, and I like how everything is such a slow show, but like in the best way possible. You know, they make the most out of every moment. So I take a lot from them. I want another example though. Facials. Damn it. I do know, like, I'm very big on like mannerisms too. So like, I know The Dark Knight with Heath Ledger. Everybody talks about like how great of a performance it was. It was, and but nobody mentions he does like this when he talks. It's like a knacking sound with his teeth. He like kind of does that, and it's something so small, but like that's what I think about when I think of that character. So when I'm in the ring and I'm reacting to certain things, I try to be mindful of not just your facials, but your mannerisms as well. So if I'm nervous or if I'm like getting desperate, like, you know, what would you do? And everybody doesn't have the same, which I think is really cool. So I like seeing like little stuff like that. That's a make or break for me.
So that's some of your favorite movies and music. What about wrestling? Like your favorite matches? Like as a fan, what are some of your favorite matches? Yeah.
So as a fan, I love elimination style matches. I love matches where it's a lot of different moving parts, a lot of different characters, and a lot of different stories intertwining. So my favorite match of all time is the winner take all match from Survivor Series in 2001.
Okay.
The Elimination Chamber match from 2005, New Year's Revolution or Resolution, the one with Triple H won, and he like tried to save Batista in this
Batista story. Yeah.
I love that. I'm trying to think of more. It's probably gonna be like Rumbles and stuff. I like it. The Survivor Series match from 2016. With AJ and all that, and I think it went like an hour long, and it was right before the first Goldberg Brock Lesnar match at that Survivor Series. So that one, I just like a lot of moving parts. I'm very big on story, very big on story, to the point where I'll almost sacrifice how good the match is. It doesn't even matter because of the story. That's kind of how I am. What are some other ones? I'm a big Rock guy. The Rock's my favorite wrestler of all time. So anything he did, the Hell in a Cell, the Armageddon Hell in a Cell with 6 of them, just ridiculous. But like, I love that. Just throw them all in there and see what happens.
Well, it kind of makes sense too, because like, I mean, I gotta imagine that you love doing SCI, like the finals of that tournament being elimination style, and like the stories you can tell with 3 other wrestlers. I mean, like it really shows.
Like putting it together, but other than that, yes, you're right.
Speaking on that, like, what would be some of your favorite matches as a fan? I mean, I'm sure the match with Alex Shelley, you know, that's got to be way up there. But what are some? Or sorry, not as a fan, but as an actual wrestler, what are some of your favorites that you've had?
Oh, we had obviously the Shelley one, yes. Yeah. I had one with Kurt Stallion in the Action Building, that was great. I had one with Jake Atlas up in New York, that was really good. I had one with Theory. The very first time I ever main evented Action. We've wrestled a billion times, but that one was something special. We went over time by like 10, 12 minutes, but it was such a good match. I'm glad it came out the way it did. I had at the WWA 4, every year there was like a tradition to have a New Year's show. And I had a storyline with this wrestler named David Ali. And at the time, we were at the new building and we didn't have insurance for the building, so nobody could really do like hardcore matches. But we had such a big rivalry, and I was like, we got to do something. Like, what if we make it to where the fans have to film it. You know, fans bring the camera kind of deal, and it's a last man standing match. We don't film it, so we don't have any kind of official footage in case there's an issue with the insurance. But the fans were filming it, so it'd be like one of those World Star fight videos, but like a full match. And we didn't call anything but the finish. And usually I'm not that kind of guy. I'm not a call it on the fly guy. I hate that. But it was just so much fun. Me and David started at the same time, so we really, really knew each other, and we trusted each other. And it was in this warehouse, standing room only. Nobody's ever going to see it, but it was so much fun. I'm trying to think of some more. I had one at center stage with Davari that I was really, really nervous about, but that actually been one of my best matches, actually. So I really enjoyed that. But yeah, those are a few. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna think of more tonight, but those are a few.
AC Mack, let the people know where they can find you at.
Yeah, so I am AC Mack everywhere, either AC-Mack or AC_Mack. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Pro Wrestling Tees, whatamaneuver.net, PSN if you're a gamer, Facebook, Tumblr if that's still your thing. Everywhere that you can search for anything, I'm AC Mack. Even on LinkedIn, all of that. So
I appreciate you joining us. Jensen, closing comments? You're going to give a big outro?
No, I don't have a big outro. I can't do that justice. But I will say is this, AC Mack, like I'm a big fan, man, and I've followed the journey for a while, and I'm really, really happy to see where you're at right now. I can't wait to see what's in the future. I love IWTV. I love all these companies we're talking about, and I can't wait to see you do your thing, defending that title and representing for us down here in the Southeast, because we have been putting on great shows down here. Or I say we, as a fan, I've been attending great shows and watching great shows. It finally feels like the Southeast has finally arrived in the scene, and you're a big part of that. So thank you so much, man.
Good. Thank you so much. I'm glad to help. I'm glad to be able to help with that.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate it. Everyone, if you haven't seen it already, we talked about it last week on the show. You just heard from the man himself. Go check out AC Mack winning the IWTV World Heavyweight title against Alex Shelley. Check out that entire show from Southeast. Thank you again for doing this, AC Mack. Everyone, we will talk to y'all. Guys, that was AC Mack, our interview with the IWTV World Champion. Look at Jensen. Jensen was so thrilled. And it's showing off the Razor shirt as well now.
Yeah, that was great. Love AC Mack. What a great guy, man. Yes, that was awesome. That's a big part of the show that I like so much. I love that me and you can come on here and talk about all our favorite things from all these different companies, and then we can spotlight these creators and these wrestlers and stuff, and we'll keep them coming. We'll have more, YouTube personalities on here. We'll have more independent pro wrestlers on here. Like, let us know who you want to see too in the comments and all that stuff. Also, I saw someone in the chat say that I look like Economus from Peacemaker. I don't know what that is. I looked him up though during the interview. I kind of do look like that guy a little bit. If y'all want to do something fun, let me know in the comments. I'll do something where like I got to shave anyways. This thing's getting huge. If y'all let me know what you want me to shave like into for next week. If you want me to do like a old school Triple H like handlebar mustache deal and like shave all this off, or if you want me to do like a mustache or something, let me know. I'll do some sort of like weird facial hair for y'all next week, just because I'm like thinking about it right now. Might as well. Why not?
Hold on. I'm pulling this guy up. I'm gonna get this picture on the screen right fast. I don't know if we can do like a side-by-side comparison, but oh shoot. I hate the way this thing will save sometimes. I don't know. I don't see it. I do not see this at all.
I mean, I see with like the big beard and like the glasses and stuff. Now, granted, I do have two new pair of glasses waiting for me at my optometrist right now and contacts. So like next week I might be doing no glasses, and I could have like some crazy facial hair going or something. I don't know. I think I might as well do something fun because I've just got so much damn hair on my face. No, there was a picture of him with like darker hair that didn't look quite as like white as that I saw. I mean, that kind of still does look like me a little bit.
I don't know. I don't fully see it.
It's not totally off. But yeah, if y'all want to see like a you see me do something different, I don't know. I'll do it for next week just to change it up a little bit. My hair grows so damn fast that like it'll all be back in a couple weeks anyway. So
there we go. Put this out on Twitter and I'll retweet it. We'll get Jensen to do different stuff with it. I should maybe do that as well.
Let's do it together. We'll do matching Triple H King of Kings with like the there you go.
My whole mutton chops and everything.
We'll be over here. We'll be rallying for Triple H. We're gonna be our WWE segment next week is gonna be all right. Well, Shane's gone. They're getting rid of all these people. Ollie wants out, but they won't let him out. But like we don't know. We're just hoping Triple H is safe. So we're gonna look like Triple H.
Stand up for Triple H, everybody. That man has been held down for too long.
Hey, and if it doesn't work out there, we got X-Pac and Nash and stuff showing up in GCW. I'm sure old Hunter Helmsley. We can get terrorizing in GCW.
Jensen, let everyone know where they can follow you at.
Y'all can follow me on Twitter at FightTalk _ FIGHTTALK _ You can use code FightTalk, all as one word, no spaces, in the promo code spot on independentwrestling.tv. And I will be on the Twitch channel tonight, Twitch.tv/Fightful Gaming. I finally have a capture card. As long as there is no technical difficulty, you will be able to see my Mario Kart screen and Joel Pearl's Mario Kart screen up there at the same time tonight. So you can finally see my gameplay also. So yeah, go over there, subscribe to the Twitch channel. Make sure to check out Fightful Overbooked. I have my show with SP3 Degrassi Dudes. It is now migrating over to Fightful Overbooked. Our first show is tomorrow. It'll be at 10 a.m. Eastern time. We are ranking Degrassi couples. It'll be myself, SP3, and Alex, aka Queen of the Ring. So it's going to be a really good time talking Degrassi. It has nothing to do with wrestling, but you can hear people who talk about wrestling talk about something else tomorrow morning on Fightful Overbooked. And I hope you enjoy it. It's a goofy, silly show. It's just for fun, and we have a good time. So check that out. Fightful Select Weekender podcast every Sunday, talking independent wrestling. Make sure to join FightfulSelect.com if you haven't already.
Jensen, I got bad news. The EP is not. She's nixing the Triple H mutton chops.
She is already. You can made it on this.
Yeah, you can go for it. It has been nixed by the EP. So I got to follow her directions there. All right, I'm not trying to. I got to sleep somewhere for the rest of my life. So
EP, listen to me. Jump on the Twitch stream tonight. Play some Mario Kart with us, and let's figure something out here. Okay, even if you can't do the Triple H, we got to do something. We got to do something fun.
Oh man, guys, go over to youtube.com/FightfulOverbooked right now. Premiering right now, debuting right now, live right now. Will Washington is doing Dad Day After Dynamite. That'll be a weekly staple on the Fightful Overbooked YouTube channel. He'll be reviewing Dynamite, talking about the ratings, talking about everything that happens. He'll have special guests from week to week. So everyone knows Will from RBR throughout the years. Everyone knows Will now from Grapsody. Everyone go over there, support the channel, support Will. Leave a thumbs up on the video, subscribe to the platform and everything. So that's over there right now. There's also more Jensen. There is more Jensen on Fightful Overbooked tomorrow. As he said, Degrassi Dudes with SP3. There's a lot of SP3 on the channel. SP3 now we do FMC, and that Friday morning is basically it's technically a wrestling channel, but Friday morning SP3 and I talk about not wrestling stuff, and then him and you talk about Degrassi. So if you like us but don't like wrestling like I do, you can go Friday mornings. You can find us over there, not talking wrestling.
Friday morning SP3 variety hours. So
basically, that's basically what it is. I have a segment. I recorded it with Jarrett Bailey called Bailey's Box. That'll be premiering at some point on Fightful Overbooked. A lot of just dumb content over there and good content. Joel Pearl is doing a great job with a bunch of guests. Drew is over there. Josh Robinson, Lily, a bunch of people on the channel. Go over there. YouTube.com/Fightful Overbooked. We also have everything in podcast form, RSS feeds, everything like that. I think that'll do it. Again, go over there, check out Dad right now. Jensen, I have a special guest who wants to say goodbye to everybody. This is my pal Poppy. Poppy watches me everything that I do. Poppy keeps an eye on me. As you can see, gigantic eyes, just is always watching me, Jensen. Watch me this entire show. Everyone say bye to Poppy. Poppy's saying bye right now. Say bye. Bye, everybody. We'll talk to y'all next week.